if you want to create organizations that work efficiently, and if we want to get more women at the top, one of the best solutions is to learn how to balance the feminine and the masculine qualities. I'm Sonia Herrero, and I work as a business coach with women who are in leadership positions. And I want to share a bit about the masculine and the feminine, because we know very little about it, and especially we women, we know very little. So when I talk about masculine and feminine qualities, I'm not talking about men and women. Those qualities are qualities that we all have in us. And there are women who are very much in the masculine, live in a very masculine way. And there are men who have very developed feminine qualities and can use them even better than some women. So it's not about gender, it's about qualities that we all have. So let me share a bit about the masculine and the feminine, and then I will share with you how they can contribute to a very different culture in the organization. The masculine, it's outwards going. The masculine has a plan and goes for it. It's the rational part in us. It's the part that says, okay, I wanted to achieve that, and I will go for it no matter what. I'm not going to stop. I will push it through. I will manage it. It's also the part that creates a structure and plans and rules and procedures, and it's the outgoing part, the part that speaks, the one that shows up, is the confident part in us. So, and that part is definitely needed in order to create organizations and run organizations. But we also need the feminine side, and the feminine qualities are the complement to the masculine quality, so the opposite if you want. So the feminine is the listening part of us. We don't need to speak, we listen. We don't need to lead, we follow. The feminine is also the part that cares about people, that cares. So it's not all concerned about where we want to get and getting there as fast as possible, but more like how are we doing while we're getting there. So it's the part that follows the intuition, it's our creativity as well. And it's also the part in us that questions why. So it doesn't follow things just because they are in a plan, but it really wants to know about the meaning of things. And it wants to make sure that everyone is feeling right. So the feminine is about the feelings as well, and bringing the feelings into everything that we are doing. So as you can see already here now, very often in organizations, what we value are masculine qualities. And we have forgotten, or we don't pay enough attention to the feminine qualities that are equally important. And what happens is that both in our private life, but also at work, if we only have masculine qualities and we are only driven by them, then we get in an unbalance. And this is something you can prove as well for your own company, the organization in which you are working. So how can you know if you are working in an environment that it has become too masculine? Some indicators that you can observe are then the structure will be top down because the masculine doesn't listen, so it just gives instructions. That's one indicator. Another indicator is everything that is valued is the doing, and so it's only about doing and having a plan and implementing it. It's not really about how are people doing, how are they feeling, is this healthy for us as a team? So it's only really like looking at objectives and implementing them, no matter how you feel. It's also culture in which things are not being questioned. So decisions are being made and no one really asks why or has some self-reflection. Also culture in which managers feel very proud of them and they are not being questioned. So no one dares to give them feedback or question them, but they don't question themselves whether they are as good as they think or maybe they are not. It's not a culture of feedback. It's a culture of instructions and rules, and also culture in which people don't really share, because the masculine is very competitive, and that's the culture that we create when we are too much in the masculine. So you can check for yourself if in your organization you can see some of those indicators. Maybe an additional indicator is as well that when you go into the organization, you feel that you have to put up a mask and pretend you're someone else. So there's a big difference between who you are in your private life and who you are at work, because that's the masculine. The masculine just wants you to be efficient and doesn't integrate the feminine part, which is the feelings and the softer things that are in us as well. And that's why very often we feel like we have to put them aside, which doesn't really work that well, but that's what we think. So in a masculine culture, what happens as well is that leaders are being identified based on masculine qualities. That means in order to make a career in those organizations, you need to feel confident, you need to prove that you can do things well, that you don't care too much about feelings and what people think, but you have the capacity to push things through. So what happens is that if we think that those are the qualities that we need in order to be leaders, those are the people who will be selected. But there is a lot of evidence nowadays that proves that a good leader needs exactly the opposite qualities. So a good leader needs to be able to listen, to be able to self-reflect about yourself, so question yourself, needs to be able to lead from behind, so empower the team so that the team can be independent and can collaborate and take more responsibility for what is happening. Also, it needs leaders that are able to adapt and change quickly, and all those are feminine qualities. The paradox here is that we have enough evidence showing that we do need feminine qualities at work. We need leaders who have more feminine qualities in them, but we're still not choosing them. And I'm sure if you take a bit of time to reflect about these things in your own organization, you will see that those qualities, or the things that you will see, there is too much of this, too much of that, all of those things are going to be masculine qualities. Whereas if you reflect on what will be needed, for example, in meetings, what will be needed in meetings in your organization? Is it needed that people talk even more? Or is it needed that people learn how to listen? So I'm sure you will see for yourself that a lot of what is missing in your organization are feminine qualities. Now, before I conclude this video, I want to share 3 steps that I think are very important in order to start integrating the feminine and the masculine in organizations, but also in your life. The first one is to become more aware of this difference. So there is a feminine way of doing things and there is a masculine way. And none of them is better than the other, but they are different. They are very different and they complement each other. So that means we need to be aware of, for example, when I've been leading too much, and then I need to learn to step back and follow. Or when I've been doing a lot, then I need to wait and see what happens, right? That's how we balance the two and how we start creating more flow in our life as well. So that's the first step, to become aware of them. The second step is to acknowledge that the feminine qualities are undervalued. And you only need to look at companies. Very often when you have women in leadership positions, they are in soft departments like human resources and things like that. They don't get the same value as marketing department, for example. So they are undervalued. That's the second point. And the third point is that we as women, men as well, but I'm addressing this video mainly to women, but every one of us needs to start integrating those qualities in us and having the courage to bring the feminine qualities onto the table and say, hey, this is something soft maybe, but it's equally important. It's as important as being confident, for example, and that we start working on ourselves and all those inner beliefs that we have. Like, for example, I see most of my clients not speaking up very often in situations because they think, well, this is not the way we do things here. But if we keep thinking like that, we will never bring our value into the organization. So that's my third and final recommendation, is for all of us women to start connecting more with our real value and bringing those qualities out there, standing for them. And that's the way in which we can change organizations, but we can seriously also change our life. And I'm talking because that has been my personal experience, how I moved from being a very masculine leader into now a much more feminine leader, or a person that has both, because it's really, at the end of the day, it's all about dancing between the two and being in flow and being able to choose freely. What do I want now, really? So thank you for listening.